The benefits that we've seen it of having our CFAs, we meet on a daily basis anyway, but the CFAs have really benefited because we're able to look at the data of what the students are coming to us knowing in math and being able to spiral back and find out what it is that they know already and what they're going to have to know on an 8th grade objective. So looking at it from that aspect, it's been very beneficial. However, we're not real sure that we can say that it's just because of the CFAs, because our math team has worked together for years, and it's a very close-knit team. We meet daily, so we already have a pretty good indication as to what the students need to be taught. The point of having a CFA, it just helps us to fine-tune those lessons.
All right, so data teams on our campus have been implemented, I think, differently throughout different subjects. So we've been doing them for 2 years. To me, it kind of feels that it's something that we would have done anyway, so it's just a formality to me. Because we do this anyway, we look at how the kids are doing, we kind of know what they're doing.
But pre-assessing them is new. We've never actually sat down and pre-assessed them. In the development of the questions, we've gotten better at.
Yeah.
Found out that 5 was too few really to get a feel. So.
And so I think even that though, even with the pre-assessment, after teaching for many, many years, you kind of already know the patterns and trends. And it's the same when you do the pre-CFA. To me, don't you see the same trends that you already know kind of where they're going to be week in?
Right.
Generally, you know, maybe not always, but for the most part.
It reaffirms what we already know.
As I look at the data teaming, and I look at the paperwork and the forms involved, our meetings are not just 10 minutes. They are taking the whole complete hour, sometimes longer.
Right.
So, do you think that is the same across all of the subjects here, or is it just us? Because when we come to our meetings, we've got the data already in there, in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet, I think, needs to be tweaked and redone. It takes too long. We're doing the same thing over and over again.
And it's asking things like, if this student has mastered this objective, what's the next step then? Well, obviously there's a differentiation that needs to happen at that point, but we already know that because we've already have the data well at hand. So it's kind of feels like we're beating a dead horse sometimes when it comes to going through all of the steps that are involved in the CFA process.
I totally agree.
So when we meet, some of our roadblocks to our meetings, when we meet as the actual form itself, when we're trying to discuss and talk, it's not set up very friendly. We've got a newer version that has, I think, more bugs in it than the old one did. It just, things aren't merged the way that they're supposed to be, so when you go into type, it won't type in the cell. And so I know for us that we meet all the time, we kind of just discuss it, almost more so than filling out the actual form itself, because it takes so much more time to try to manipulate it, and
it just ruins the dynamics of the meeting.
Right, it slows everything down, and you get frustrated doing that you forget what you're supposed to be doing. And so especially for those teams that are having more difficulty meeting and figuring out what to do, I think it's going to be a big hindrance to them to try to manipulate this form. You need to come up with something that works so it's more user-friendly, I guess.
The plus side of the data teaming, it gives us the opportunity to talk to each other, but we do that on a daily basis anyway. But that's not all of the teams, and we're old. We've been together for forever.
Right, and if you have a younger team
New
here at the school,
teachers.
different subjects, things like that, it forces them to analyze the data question by question and student by student. So it can be I can see where it could truly be beneficial for a younger team, or for a new teacher.
Right, so for us, the data team process is pretty seamless. We meet every day, we collaborate every day. So we're constantly talking about it, talking about how they did and where do we need to tweak and change without having to just wait every 2 weeks or every week to meet. And that specific data team meeting, we're kind of constantly doing it.
And with other subjects, I know some teachers just don't, want to collaborate as much. It's not part of their personalities, and having the formality might help those departments.
Right, saying set day, you have to meet at this time, and this is what you have to discuss and bring this information. Where to us, it's just kind of seamless, we do it anyway.